Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown, the official sumo podcast for unofficial sumo podcast for official sumo fans. I'm Fleric.
This is Jake.
This is Ryan, and this is our recap of the 2025 Natsu Basho. We are without Mac, unfortunately, had a little bit of scheduling difficulties, weren't able to get us all here.
He's actually on Mars.
Yeah, very important mission for Mac, as he was our Yokozuna for this Basho.
That's why he's on Mars.
A very important mission that we send our champions to. Little known fact, we've all been to Mars.
Yeah. Also, little known fact, there are some crazy amount of birthday parties over there. So he's just covering for the Yokozuna right now. Koshoryu
that's
just
right,
can't get over there because of like all the Basho stuff. Yeah. So we just send Mac instead.
Yeah, we don't like to toot our own horn too much, but if the Yokozuna in Japan are otherwise occupied, they call on us, the reigning Yokozuna from the GSB podcast, to go over and fulfill some of those duties. The birthdays, the bar mitzvahs, the hospital inspections, all the normal Yokozuna duties.
And Mac was willing to jump on. It's just the 11-second communication delay was really the thing that did it. It wasn't good. It'd be hard to listen to.
It's untenable, unfortunately. Before we dive into a very exciting and momentous Natsu Basho, a very important Basho, we got to dive into something even more important. That's new Patreons to the GSB podcast.
Yeah, since literally no one in the Joy had a winning record this time around, it looks like we have to make a big promotion from the lower ranks. So our banzuke prediction for the new Komusubi in Nagoya, Josiah Miklos. Shocking, considering that Josiah was not a professional sumo wrestler until right now, but they are desperate on that banzuke committee.
It's what happens when you have 0 winning records from Maegashira 1 to Maegashira 5.
They come to us and they're like, hey, you guys got any new patrons?
Yep. We had just the guy.
Yeah. You think doing collegiate sumo is the way to get in? No, it's the Patreon.
Nah.
Yeah. It's the other shortcut.
All right. I'm going for Thorbeard. I don't know a lot about Marvel, but I do know a lot about Thorbeard, and he's worthy to wear Beard Nor. That's a
Beard
thing, right?
Nor?
Yeah,
Beard Nor.
Everybody knows Beard Nor.
The hammer made out of hair.
No, it's a beard made out of hammer. Move on.
No, you're right. That's
happily,
actually
no. We will happily move on, and to all of our continuing patrons, but especially to Baker PD. Thank you so much for sending me some cards, some duplicates that you had in your trading card set. Was able to help me finish out my 2024 Series 2 set. You should have some cards on the way to you in the mail to help you finish out that series for you as well. So
you
big
100%'d
shout out
it?
to Baker PD.
You got like the 100% of that entire set?
2024 Series 2, yes.
That's awesome.
And 2025 Series 1 now, but that was from the Cowpuncher.
Out of the series that you have started collecting, how many of them do you have 100%?
I think 3.
Out of what?
It's tough.
Maybe like 10-ish?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. That's really cool. Let's talk amateur sumo real quick. As always, go to ussumo.org to see some upcoming events. We do have a double weekend. I can't remember the last time this happened, but we have the Legion Sumo Fest in Reno, Nevada, and the Sakura Cup in Nashville, Tennessee, both coming up on the 31st of May. Both should be streaming. Look for Honu Sumo and Tennessee Sumo Association YouTube channels. Should be up there. Last I heard, they should be live. But yeah, that'll be on Saturday the 31st. Also, I am wearing my badass Iowa Sumo hoppy here because we just had an awesome demo, and even that motion was enough to make my shoulders very upset with me. I am very, very sore today. Other amateur sumo thing for you real quick. We are finishing up our yellow belt vocabulary today. Or actually, I think we finished it on the midway because we got a little bit out of sync. So we're just going to review it real quick. We will complete our yellow belt. We'll earn our yellow belt, we'll call it, and then move on to the next one for next Basho. But if you are new to the series or haven't heard of this, there's a belt system that has been kind of implemented by American sumo wrestlers as like a way to help people learn more of the vocab, learn more of the basic technique stuff. If you're interested in earning belts, it's mainly a knowledge thing. You don't have to constantly compete. You don't have to beat this guy or that guy or whatever to get your better ranks. As long as you're showing devotion and learning about the sport, that's the main way to progress. As long as you're doing it, as long as you're putting in the time and learning about it, that's how you progress in amateur sumo belts. I make that very clear because if it was performance based, I would not be a green belt by now. So we'll be covering that closer to our break and at the very end of it, at the very end of the episode today. But yeah, again, it'll go yellow. Next Basho will earn orange, then green, blue, brown, black. And within roughly a year or so, we will have learned all the vocab to get all the way through black belt. Obviously not earning the belt itself from anybody, but
Damn it.
helping us go through the vocab. What's up, Flair?
It's one thing knowing the words like this is how you do this kimarite and actually doing it itself. So,
but the vocab
one
is
step.
yeah. The vocab is there. There's so many different words in sumo, and even if you're not interested in doing sumo yourself as an amateur, all of these terms come up in one way or another in pro sumo. So it's a really cool way to learn more about the actual execution of the sport. So yeah, all that's on ussumo.org along with events. So check that out if you like. Reach out to us if you are interested and need help.
All right, let's dive into the results of the Basho. Our Yusho winner, Onosato, with a 14-1 record, his 4th career Yusho, but most importantly for the context of sumo moving forward, his 2nd consecutive Yusho at the rank of Ozeki. There's no waffling on this one. There's no debate to be had. They've called the extraordinary board meeting for the Shinpan department to discuss his promotion. They're like, yeah, obviously. The YDC has been called, and they're like, yes, obviously. So it has been confirmed. Onosato will be your 75th Yokozuna after winning his 2nd consecutive Yusho from the rank of Ozeki, breaking all sorts of records and getting there as fast as he did. We'll dive deeper into that in a moment, but we did have a couple of June Yusho winners. Our current Yokozuna, Hoshoryu, getting a 12-3 record, and the 1-14-1 for Onosato, Hoshoryu's 3rd career June Yusho, alongside Wakatakakage, Komusubi Wakatakakage, also getting a 12-3 record, his 3rd career June Yusho. We had a handful of special prizes handed out. Basically, if you did good in the Sanyaku, you got a technique prize. If you did good from the Maegashira ranks, you got a fighting spirit prize. So our 2 technique prizes went to Sekiwake Kirishima and Komusubi Wakatakakage. The 4th career technique prize for Kirishima, his 6th special prize overall, and Wakatakakage's 6th career technique prize.
That's
his
nuts.
7th special prize overall. That's like Miyogiryu levels of technique prize right there. We need Jake, do some research, find out how many Miyogiryu had, but I feel like he had way too many technique prizes.
I feel like you're crazy.
Look into it.
But I will look into it real quick, sure.
All right. And our 2 Kanto Show Fighting Spirit Prize winners are Maegashira 9 Aonishiki, his 2nd career Fighting Spirit Prize, his 2nd special prize overall, and his 2nd 11-4 Basho in the top division since his debut in the top division. And he is going to be skyrocketing higher than you may think in the next banzuke. And also, Maegashira 13 Sada Naumi got an old man Kanto Show Fighting Spirit Prize. This is his 3rd career Fighting Spirit Prize, his 3rd special prize overall. There were 3 Rikshi on day 14 that had 10-4 records. Sada Naumi, Aonishiki, and Asakoryu. Aonishiki and Asakoryu had to win their day 15 matches to earn their Fighting Spirit Prize. But I'm pretty sure Sada Naumi got he's 38 years old, just let him have it. And it's good they did because he lost to Aonishiki that day. So
yeah,
that's 38. I did not expect him to be that old. Wow, that's almost Tamawashi levels.
We've talked about it on the
levels, yes.
Yeah, we've talked about it on our banzuke episodes once or twice, but like he is the I don't think the odds are good, but he's got a chance to be the oldest Sanyaku debutant ever by like a wide margin. because like if you stay in the top division until you're 38, chances are you made Komusubi once or twice, right? Generally, but like he has never gotten there. He's gotten all the way to Maegashira 1.
Yep.
And also, yeah, I'm absolutely 6 technique prizes for Myogiryu. That was complete blind spot for me. I do not remember him having nearly
That's
that
because he
many,
got most of them
accolades
before
to
we
his
started
name.
watching. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, anyways, I thought it was pretty cool that Aonishiki and Sadanoumi faced each other on the final day. That was kind of cool.
Thought it would have been cooler if it was a winner take all fighting
Yes,
spirit
I was
prize
just gonna
sort of
say that,
thing,
yep.
But now I don't think we've seen, since we've been watching sumo, at least, like two guys with conditional special prizes fighting on day 15
In the
where
same
it's like a
match.
winner take all. And we had the matchup, we had the perfect matchup, but they're just like, we'll give it to Sadanoumi, probably because they knew he was going to lose to Aonishiki.
Yeah. Generally, if you're making your debut in the top division and you get 10 wins, that's good enough. But yeah, generally after your first time in the top division, 10 isn't a guarantee that you'll get a fighting spirit by any means. But
Yeah.
Asakoryu, for example, getting those 10 wins from the very bottom of the banzuke. If that's your first time, sure, but he's been up in the top division a handful of times, so it wasn't good enough this time.
He needed to win that day 15 matchup against Endo to earn his, but he could not follow through. So I want to talk briefly, or maybe not briefly, we'll see. This Basho, I feel like, is the end of an era for sumo, and basically an era that's been going on the entirety of the time that we've been watching sumo, even pre Grand Sumo Breakdown. We were watching sumo for about a year, which what's the right word? The arrogance of us to start a sumo podcast after watching a year is incredibly absurd.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
I'm glad it has worked out. But like, yeah, we were so
It was
green.
before a year, I'm pretty sure. It was like
it was right.
It might have been like exactly a year, but yeah, it was. I think the time that Goedo went undefeated was the first one that I watched.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that was September of 2016, and our podcast started September of 2017. So
I think we had the episode in August, just to be pedantic about it.
Yeah. So in that time, since we started watching, like, it was an era of 3 Yokozuna, but none of those Yokozuna could stay healthy. And then by the time we get to September of 2017, we have Harumafuji win a Yusho. It's a crazy Yusho that he wins at 11-4. Big comeback for Harumafuji. And then the big scandal breaks the following Basho, and Harumafuji has to retire in shame. And since Harumafuji retired, there had not been a Yokozuna that could stay healthy for more than 3 consecutive Basho. We've been in a stretch of 7.5 years where we have not seen one single Yokozuna compete in 4 consecutive Bashos, which is crazy when we were at a time where we had 4 Yokozuna on the banzuke at the same time, and none of them could pull together 4 in a row. March of 2020 was the last time that 2 Yokozuna fought each other, and they did so in front of no crowd to no cheers in an empty arena in March of 2020, right as the COVID outbreak was occurring. And then after the retirement of Kakuryu in March of 2021, we were just left with 1 Yokozuna on the banzuke, a rank that has been singularly held by 3 different Rikishi since then, but never overlapping at all. Once one Yokozuna went down, another one had risen. We have not had 2 Yokozuna on the banzuke, and in January of this year, things were looking bleak. Our sole Yokozuna, Takerufuji, retired in the first third of the Basho. Kotozakura, our Ozeki that went 14-1 in November, was 3-6 on day 9 and completely eliminated from any Yokozuna conversation in any near future, and he hasn't really put anything together since then. And we also had Hoshoryu, our other softer Yokozuna candidate, coming off of a strong June Yusho in January, but he was already 6-3 on day 9, and he was 3 wins behind the leader with only 6 days to go. But then on day 10 of January, the sumo world, after Hakuho came in and just ravaged the sumo world, and once he kind of started breaking down, the sumo world couldn't recover for 8 years once Hakuho stopped being a Basho in, Basho out Rikishi. And on day 10, that's when the sumo world really began healing to come back to full sumo in a way that we have never seen it on this podcast. Hoshoryu went on to win 6 consecutive matches in regulation and definitively beat the 2 Maegashira in the playoff that he would be facing to take the Yusho at 12-3 in January. A little controversial at the time, but he was promoted to Yokozuna following a strong Jun Yusho and a Yusho. So things are looking better. It's like, okay, we're not going to be without a Yokozuna. And then we get
there
to
was
March.
Still like, I hated how much there was like a discussion of whether or not he deserved it or whatever. Like, I'm glad that discussion, that argument is like instantly like, okay, we're moving on to the next thing now.
And things weren't helped as we get to March, and he starts the tournament 5-4, giving up 3 Keen Boshi. We all knew that he had that injured elbow, and he had to pull out of his first tournament as Yokozuna. But Onosato was able to not dethrone, but take down Takayasu in a playoff to pick up a Yusho at 12-3. And then this Basho, Onosato could not and would not be denied what has been preordained for him we've heard Onosato's names for a year or so before he even joined Grand Sumos. This guy could be the next Yokozuna, and Hoshoryu got there just before him, but damn it if Onosato didn't cash in on all of those high thoughts and high expectations of him, because here he comes in, starts the tournament 13-0, wins the tournament on day 13, something that hasn't been done in over a decade. And now we've got 2 Yokozuna moving forward. But the thing that has me the most excited about the future is the fact that Hoshoryu comes out with a chip on his shoulder, something to fight for on day 15. He could have packed it in and just let Onosato walk to a 15-0 victory, but that's not Hoshoryu. That's not who he is. He's not going to lay down and let... Who's this Onosato guy? He's not even been in the top division for barely 2 years. Top division he hasn't even been in for 2 years. Grand Sumo barely over 2 years. He's not going to lay down and let this guy that he has a dominating 5-1 record over just get the 15-0. Now, Hoshoryu goes in there. He gets pushed back by Onosato, but he gets that belt. He spins around and he throws Onosato to the ground, and he shows Onosato, you might be the big bad boy, but you're not the big dog yet. Not yet. That's still me, buddy. You've got to come through me. And I am... and then after that match, after Hoshoryu beats Onosato, you could see how much that meant to Hoshoryu to prove pumped that he was still the top guy. Onosato might have taken the Yusho, but he's not better than Hoshoryu, not in a 1-to-1 matchup.
Not like Oho and Abi are.
Yeah, exactly. We don't talk about that. That's not important.
That was first week stuff. Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt.
But yeah, just clearly how important it was for Hoshoryu. And then Onosato to come out after the match and just say, like, I really wanted that 15, and now I've got to come back. I've got to beat Hoshoryu. And now we are just set up so perfectly for the next... I'm not going to say decade, because that would put these guys at like 36 and 35 years old, and that's probably asking too much. But could be, but I think for at least the next 5 to 6 years, we have at the very least 2 Yokozuna who are incredibly healthy, who both put on Yokozuna-like performances this Basho, winning the Yusho and Jun Yusho. And you've got one that is looking like he's going to be an all-time great Yokozuna and could stack up 15, 20 Yusho if everything works out in his career. But then you've also got Hoshoryu, who's not going to take that lying down. And I could just feel like these 2 guys are going to be pushing each other to raise each other's game to make sure that the other one doesn't beat him and take what he feels like is his. We have not had 2 Rikishi that were so clearly head and shoulders above the rest of the field. Sorry, Kotozakura, they left you far behind in the dust, in my opinion. But just to have these 2 guys, and have a day 15 matchup between these two for the foreseeable future, with a lot on the line. It feels like moving forward. I'm just so excited for where Sumo is going to be for the next 5 to 6 years, and it's going to be an experience that we haven't seen in our near decade of watching sumo, of just basically transient Yokozuna just trying to hang on for as long as they can to make sure that the next one can carry the torch and they're not leaving the world without a Yokozuna. We're good now. We're fine. There's going to be other people that come up and win, other people promoted to Ozeki that win a tournament or two, but I feel like these two guys, as it stands right now, are going to define the next 5 to 6 years of sumo, and I'm super excited to see the giant Onosato just tear through the entire division. And then the technician, the speedster Hoshoryu, might struggle, might drop a few more matches than Onosato's going to, but when it matters the most to Hoshoryu, when things are most on the line, he's going to come through and you can trust in him. Not saying you can't trust in Onosato. Obviously, he showed he can win 14 in a row to take Yokozuna, but just I probably working myself up way too much, and Onosato is going to tear his ACL next Basho, and Hoshoryu's
Why would you say that?
elbow is going to fall off because of all the loose cartilage. But just where it stands now, I'm so excited for the future of sumo.
Yeah, I think that 3 years ago, Onosato was preparing to come to Alabama for the World Games. And 3 years later, he is a Yokozuna. That's just wild to me. And like we're gonna go through like all of the records here, but like just to put it in perspective, mid 2022, amateur came to the World Games, won himself a gold medal, whoop-de-doo, and I guess I'll join Pro Sumo now. And then
he's a guy that could have joined Pro Sumo a couple of years
Anytime
earlier and still have been a Makushita Tsukedashi.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He
No,
won that
there's
higher Makushita Tsukidashi though.
He could have had that a while ago too.
Yeah. Didn't he win like 5 out of the one that he needed to or something like that?
Yeah.
Like the titles that he would have needed to.
I feel like he stayed in corporate sumo a little longer to get the higher one. So
Yeah.
you only need to win one Basho and Makushita to get up to Juryo.
Well,
there's-
Hakuho, he started at Makushita 15, and he went 7-0, and then he was up in Juryo. So Onosato, if he was at Makushita 15, he could have done the same thing. It's just a 5 rank difference of 15 and 10.
Yeah, but he did go 6-1 in Makushita, so it was good that I guess he went up to Makushita 3.
Yeah,
he was
in Makushita for 2 Basho.
He did not get that.
Yeah,
who knows? Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I do think I think he stayed around a little bit longer, and my guess is because of that. Because no one likes doing the Tsukibito duties.
Yeah, for sure. I think that that does a little bit. I don't know. I wouldn't say it puts an asterisk on any of his records or anything, but it's at least context that's worth knowing when we talk about he's the fastest to do X or Y or Z or something like that.
Not the youngest, but the
right,
fastest.
the fastest, not the youngest. Because like by this age, Hakuho already had like 10 Yusho or something like that. Mm-hmm. Just because Hakuho started from the very bottom at a very young age. He technically rose through the ranks slower than Onosato did, but that's because he was a baby still. But yeah, that's not to take away from Onosato, but like the fact that we're talking about Onosato compared to Hakuho alone is already like saying a lot. But yeah, that's just like the untouchable, nobody will ever get there kind of thing that we are comparing him against already. So yeah, there's no amount of praise that is too much for what Onosato has already done here. And I definitely don't want to rain on that parade by saying, well, Hakuho did it better, because of course he did. He did it better than everyone. And I also feel a little bit bad for Hoshoryu because it's like you had your moment, you got promoted to the highest rank. Oh, no, somebody already did it too. I'm not the fresh new face on the top anymore. I don't know. I'm sure he's doing fine, but it seems
Could take some pressure off of him.
I'm kind of curious how the two of them handle it mentally.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Ryan is I feel like it's probably the best of both worlds for Hoshoryu, because he had a couple time like, hell yeah, I was the first one who got the put over to like to be a Yokozuna, and like he had a couple Bashos, but now he's just like, now my pressure's off because someone else can also be kind of in the Yusho race. I can get my double digit Kachikoshi and like feel pretty good about it.
Yeah. And Onosato is a Japanese Yokozuna, so and he has the much higher expectation. So all eyes are going to be Onosato to have the more pressure on him to perform. I mean, obviously still going to be on Hoshoryu as a Yokozuna, but he's not the top guy anymore. Not saying that really bothered him. I mean, he went 12-3 and did just about as good as he ever has this tournament. So I don't think it really affected Hoshoryu too much here, being the sole Yokozuna. But
I do think it will affect his paycheck though, because he doesn't always get the last match of the Basho every single day.
Oh yeah, it's true.
He's got to share it now.
Well, the last match of the Basho will be between the two of them, ideally.
The last match every day.
I mean the last match of the day.
Oh, of the day, gotcha. Yeah,
yeah. That typically gets like the most sponsorship like envelopes of all the matches,
and
unless there's something special going on.
And like Ryan said, it's been ages since we had a match between two Yokozuna. We haven't even had two Yokozuna on the banzuke at the same time in over 4 years.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, this is just wild to me how many new records are. It's been this long since this happened kind of situation that we're in, because it's been almost 4 years since anyone won 2 Yusho in a row. Even
Takerufuji probably 2021.
2021, he did 4 out of 5. The Hakuho one was in between there, and before that, it was back to like 2018 before anybody else won 2 Basho in a row. Like
that would have been Kakuryu, I think.
I think you're right. And then but before 2018 it was happening all the time because Hakuho was active. But it's I hope to see more letter Y's on this list of Yusho winners in the near future, because there's not a lot over the last few years. It's a new era, and I think it will be. We refer to a certain period as like the Hakuho era, right? And that obviously ended 4 years ago. Is the time in between then and now? I don't necessarily know what we call it, but that's
chaos.
Very clearly
that's what we've always referred to it as. The
pretty
chaos
much.
Era.
But like it feels like Nagoya this year will absolutely be like the next one. That is like a very hard start of like, this is now. Oh yeah, that's when Hoshoryu and Onosato were both Yokozuna, right? Like that's that era. So very excited for that. Quick fun fact from a listener. If I recall, they have 4 years worth of Yusho banners hanging at a time in the Kokugikan. And by the time they come back to Tokyo after Nagoya, it will have been 4 years since Hakuho's last Yusho. So for the first time in 19 years, Hakuho will not be hanging over the Kokugikan.
That's crazy.
Right? Yeah, Hoshoryu and Onosato were like 5 when that happened, the last time that Hakuho was not hanging from those banners. So yeah, thank you. Let's see, that was from our friend Will.
Kind of apropos, as Mr. J-Wags would put it, the shadow of Hakuho finally lifting from the Kokugikan.
There you go.
And as we do so, we're ushering in a new era of 2 Yokozuna to guide us through the next 5 to 6 years of sumo.
It's rare in history to know an inflection point right when it happens. You know, like when COVID hit or 9/11 or whatever, like those are like big obvious ones. But a lot of the time it's just like looking back, like when did the Roman Empire fall or whatever? There's not one exact answer, but it's like when did the Hakuho era end, or when did the chaos after Hakuho end? It's like, oh yeah, today. This is the one right here.
Yep. Day 15, Natsu. Or day 13.
Technically 13, yeah. The promotion was a rubber stamp since then, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about Onosato and everything he has accomplished in his incredibly short time in pro sumo. So he has won his 4th career Yusho, his 2nd in a row, to secure the fastest promotion to Yokozuna in the 6 Basho era. I believe Yokozuna Terukuni made it up a little bit faster than Onosato did, but that was like in the 1930s and 40s, and that was also
I'll go take a look.
Its own different version of chaos. So Other records that Onosato has: the fastest Rikishi to win a Yusho from their pro debut. He did it in just 7 Basho. Two different ways you can look at it. The previous Makushita Tsukedashi fastest to win a Yusho was 14 Basho by Yokozuna Wajima, who is the only other collegiate Yokozuna, or like a Rikishi who came in through a Makushita Tsukedashi to make it up to Yokozuna, was Wajima. And so Onosato is now the second amateur Rikishi. I mean, they were all amateur Rikishi at some point, but he's the second one that came in with the Makushita Tsukedashi to make it up to Yokozuna. But then also there was the 10 Yusho, or 10 Basho by Takerufuji to win his first Yusho, and he started all the way at the bottom.
Update on Terakuni. It took him like 6 years. 7 years.
I must be thinking of somebody else then.
Oh, no, it was 16 Basho, but it was a much longer time. So
Gotcha.
but I'm sorry, continue.
Yeah, so he has the fastest rise to Yokozuna from pro debut in 13 Basho. The previous, I had this, was 16 by Hakuho and Terukuni. The previous fastest rise in the 6 Basho per year era was 21 by Wajima. He had the fastest rise to Yokozuna from the top division debut. That was 9 Basho. The previous was 11 by Taiho. I think it is this record that Terukuni has, Jake, from Makuuchi debut to Yokozuna. I think he did it faster than the 9 Basho that Onosato did.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
By 2.
Yep. And Onosato has the fastest in the 6 Basho per era system.
There you go.
He is the first Yokozuna to ever be promoted without having a losing record under the 6 tournament system. So Onosato's never had a losing record. And besides pulling out for injury, he will likely never fight 15 days and have a losing record.
That's nuts. Oh my God.
Nuts.
Yeah, you're right. Because if he's like 7-5 or something like that, or
5-7.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Like, yeah, he's not finishing that tournament. He's a Yokozuna. Get out of there.
Yeah,
go take a nap.
He is also tied for the 10th youngest Rikishi promoted to Yokozuna. So that just kind of goes to show he's doing this all faster than anybody else, but he came in a little bit later than a lot of these other guys have. Other notes from Onosato's Yusho. This was as I mentioned, the first time a Basho was wrapped up by day 13 since Hakuho did so in January of 2015. Onosato
2015?
2015.
It's been 10 years since there was like a 3-day clinching like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts.
That is crazy.
Onosato has the second most wins in a Rikishi's first 9 top division tournaments ever with 101. The first place is the aforementioned Terukuni, who had 110 wins in his first 9 top division tournaments. He has the 3rd highest Yusho win rate in history. So he's ahead of Hakuho, who is in 4th place with a 43.7% Yusho rate. Then Onosato with a 44.4% Yusho rate. Asa Shoryu had a 45.5% Yusho rate, and Taiho had a 46.4% Yusho rate. So very early in Onosato's career, so it's easier to get that number a little bit higher. We'll see how he does moving forward, but hey, that's still pretty damn good.
Well, maybe it's even going to go up, though, because like the ones that he's either going to win them or he's going to come in 2nd place or he's going to sit out. That's kind of like the level of Yokozuna that I expect from him. So like is this counting all the ones whether they finished it or not?
Yes.
Okay, never mind.
That's why Hakuho is so low.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you take the last like 3 years of Hakuho's career off, I bet he's way higher than anybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the first Basho in 25 years where this is more of a testament to the entire Sanyaku group, this Basho, who had 4 Rikishi with 11 or more wins, and another with 10 plus wins, and then Takayasu was farting around, not doing a whole lot. But this is the first Basho in 25 years where no Rikishi ranked Maegashira 1 through Maegashira 5 had a winning record, and the first time in 30 years that none of those Maegashira 1 through Maegashira 5 were Kyujo for any portion of the Basho.
Nobody was hurt. It was purely ineptitude.
They just sucked. Just sucked. So some quotes from Onosato. I believe this is from his victory speech on day 15 while he was still on the dohyo. He said, I wanted to win with a perfect record. I wanted to win in the end. It's frustrating. And I want to do my best to win and achieve a perfect record at the next tournament. So that's another reason why I'm really happy Hoshoryu knocked off Onosato this Basho. Keep him hungry. Keep him fighting for more. I mean, Onosato's the kind of Rikishi that probably doesn't need that motivation because he's always going to be fighting history, like the history books. He's always going to be chasing that. But just to give him a little bit more sauce, give him a little bit more of a rivalry with Hoshoryu, I think it would have been a little disappointing if Onosato came in and trucked Hoshoryu as well, and then Hoshoryu's just a complete and utter afterthought in these things. I can't emphasize enough how much I loved Hoshoryu beating Onosato on day 15. It's not just because Hoshoryu is my favorite Rikishi. It's a lot because
it's
of
a lot because of that.
It's a lot because of that, but not just because of that.
Yeah. It really does kind of silence some of those people saying like, oh, he's not ready kind of thing. Because like he still beat the top guy on the spot show and he got the Junior show. It's
Yeah, I do think
12
it's
and
3 Junior show, and you're the one guy who beat the otherwise undefeated Rikishi. You can't complain about Hoshoryu this Basho.
I like the way that you said that though, Fleric, because like this whole Basho, Onosato was the top guy, not Hoshoryu, and like that's. I have kind of had that feeling for a while here that like I think that overall Onosato's ceiling has been higher than Hoshoryu's for a while, but like it did really feel like that, didn't it? Like even if Hoshoryu has the head-to-head advantage historically, it felt a little bit like an upset, didn't it? Like having Onosato come in undefeated on that last day, and then but yeah, like Ryan said, I love that this is. It's a good indication that this will be a rivalry rather than having some underlings who are also pretending to be Yokozuna, like when Hakuho was at the top, and it was like at one point there were 3 other Yokozuna that were like Yokozuna B, like there wasn't 2 top guys. It was just like who is going to be the closest to as good as Hakuho this time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would love for it to be more of an era like the 90s with Akebono and Takanohana, where even if one of the guys,
Maru, he had 10 plus U show as well.
Yeah, his was I guess that was his prime was a little bit later than those other 2 guys. That was
later 90s, yeah.
But there was a handful of years where it was like those 2 guys were a perfect match for each other. They were both winning against each other every now and then. It was like a rivalry as opposed to just Hakuho and friends kind of an era.
Yeah, if you want to watch like a badass like a montage video, look up like Takanohana Akebono, like all matches. It is just a fantastic watch.
Yeah, no, and those guys tried to kill each other every time.
The 90s, man, it was different.
But then, the eras with Hakuho, Asashoryu, and even if it was briefer, Takerufuji's time on top, it was people battling for second place. It wasn't like a true rivalry at the top.
We've already gone over where he's at in the Yokozuna promotion process. Everybody's like, yeah, obviously. Quote from Takerufuji Oyakata, the head of the Shimpan department, said, I have nothing to say. He lost today, but I'm looking forward to it. There were no objections at the meeting. It was unanimous. And then, let's see, where's the name of the YDC? Tadamori Oshima, the head of the YDC, said it took only 5 minutes for the members to reach their decision once the conversation moved to Onosato. He said that Onosato wrestled all the way in a dignified manner under pressure. So there's one last recommendation. They must count ballots
really slow if it took 5 minutes. 1, 2.
Yeah.
All right, go on. Sorry.
There's one more governing body that needs to weigh in on the Onosato promotion, give their official recommendation. So I'd like to turn things over to our current chairman, Fleric of the YDC West. Could you give the official statement for our recommendation for the promotion of Onosato?
the recommendation. I'm not sure if we did an official vote, so I feel like I have to.
You're the
open up
chairman.
the
I
vote.
trust you.
You trust me? Okay.
I trust you.
I think
We have to
going
wait 11 seconds for Mac's vote to arrive from Mars.
Yeah, that'll be the one thing. I think after much deliberation, in spite like the huge Hoshoryu bias at this console, the YDC West, I think we have no choice but to say, accept Onosato and his brand of sumo, recommend that he get the Yokozuna promotion. Is official. We get the rubber stamp. Recommended. YDC West approved.
I bless it with the Iowa Sumo Club official Goombay.
There we go.
All right. I think that's the ritual that must be completed, right?
Yeah, and I believe that'll do it. That'll lock up the promotion to Yokozuna for Onosato. So we've got the JSA, the Shimpan committee said yes. YDC East, YDC West, both equal standing governing bodies have given their approval. So congratulations, Onosato. 75th Yokozuna. So after learning about both the YDC East and he's listening in live now, YDC West recommendation, Onosato said, I'll be learning every day. I'll be thinking what Yokozuna is all about and trying to understand it. No matter how many times I win, I'm still happy. I feel a sense of accomplishment and fulfillment. I was able to step onto the dojo without feeling pressure amid all the noise. And then in regards to not yet feeling the momentousness of his promotion, he said, I think I'll understand it the moment I put on the rope for the first time.
I love that. Those are solid quotes that like his like physical, his body language is often like a little bit awkward and goofy. Like, oh, cool. What am I do next? Oh, I got to go over here. Oh, okie dokie. You know, like he's got like this little bit of not quite. I don't want to say it's like less like dignified or whatever, but there's like maybe a little bit less reverence that he kind of sometimes shows, not in a bad way, just in like a kind of happy and a little bit uninformed kind of a way.
I think as the kids would say, Hoshoryu's definitely got a lot more aura than Onosato.
Yeah, okay, sure. And Onosato, like I appreciate those quotes because that's like I've never like doubted or had any distaste for his demeanor or whatever, but he's so much less intense than Hoshoryu is. And I like that.
Or even like Kotozakura, who can even muster like the crazy eyebrow. Takerufuji always had resting bitch face. He like you said, he just kind of like ambles on, just like time to do sumo.
I feel like,
look, you bounced off me and lost. Yay.
I feel like he's one of the guys that like if you get to the middle of the ring, you're preparing for the match, and you go down to your Sonkyo position and you stare at him. He's one of those guys that might like crack a smile a little bit. Whereas Hoshoryu will just like try to murder you with his eyeballs.
Yeah.
And Onosato's like, oh, I guess this is the part we're doing next. Hey, you ready to wrestle?
Hey guys,
let's do it.
This is fun, right? We get to do this for a living, you guys. This is great.
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone. Don't ruin it. This is awesome. No, I kind of hope that I don't know, different personalities are interesting and entertaining. So I appreciate the contrast between the two.
Yeah. All right, so we've talked a lot about Onosato. There's not a whole lot left to be said. Guy's really good, and he's going to continue to be really good. We've talked about Hoshoryu. Let's talk about the guy that I said may have been left behind in the dust by these two, Kotozakura, who just 6 months ago back in November, he was 14-1 and won a day 15 matchup against current Yokozuna Hoshoryu to take the Yusho. He has finished 8-7 for the second straight Basho. He lost to all the Sanyaku Rikishi except for Takeyasu, who struggled throughout the entirety of the tournament. Some quotes from Kotozakura regarding only getting 8 wins this Basho. He said, it's not something I can be satisfied with. I want to prepare properly for the next tournament. I'm not particularly satisfied, so I'll just do everything that I can. So he's clearly not happy with where his sumo is at. But Fleric, it's one thing for me to say he's been left behind, but as the chairman of YDC West, your word carries more weight and gravitas. Do you agree? Has Kotozakura been left behind as a distant third in sumo by Hoshoryu and Onosato?
This is interesting that you asked this question because in my notes is Hoshoryu way above Kotozakura now? To give my answer though, yes, I think he is like when he went against Hoshoryu, I was like, Hoshoryu is the main favorite. Like I was when Hoshoryu won, I was like, yeah, this is the expected result, and I think that's definitely the case right now. I still the 14 like in one win like in Kyushu last year. That was 14-1 Yusho by him, right? With the
Yeah.
playoff. Yeah. That is still in my mind of where he's like high, but it's like that's something he's still not back from his injury, or it's so there's still something just not there. So in my back of my head, I'm giving like him a little bit grace to like maybe like actually recover from what's going on. But yeah, it's so wild how fast things change in sumo on who's on top.
Yeah.
And right now it's just like he's obviously like in third place right now.
It feels so much to me like you brought up injury. It's got to be health, right? Like he's what I can't really think of a way that he would have regressed that much without dealing with some new injury. Like ever since that 5-10, he barely scraped by an 8-7 last tournament. This tournament, he looked like crap for most of it, compared to where he has been. Like he just doesn't have the same level of power and control that he had a year ago or so. And it's frustrating because like the technique is there. When he faced Hoshoryu yesterday, well, day 14, he did great. Like if that was the only match of Kotozakura's that I saw, even though he lost, I'd be like, yeah, he's looking real strong. His defense was awesome.
Mhm.
I mean, the Yokozuna got the better of him. That's nothing to be ashamed of by any means. But like he put on a hell of a fight, had excellent defense and lateral movement and everything. But yeah, other than that match, kind of just looked very bad.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the technique because I agree. Like he has great technique, and I've seen that in some matches where he gets like in a grapple thing, and then he just kind of figures out what to do and just kind of just throws them or kind of forces them out. So he definitely has like that part is still very much there. I just feel like there's something kind of lacking in the body going on with him, but I do think he's like slowly getting better. I think like Hatsu was like obviously the worst, and then. I think he's getting healthier as time goes on. I think he's on the upward swing, but just not where he was in Kyushu.
Yeah. Regarding Kotozakura's technique, his style is very much he's not driving the action of the match. He's kind of reacting to what his opponent is, shutting it down, and then throwing them away, when he's in his top form. And I feel like whatever has been slowing him down, he just doesn't have the strength to kind of be that brick wall that you need to be if you're going to have that reactive kind of sumo. And so it's just allowing him to be pushed back a lot more. He's never really been push you forward and push you out like a bulldozer like Onosato has been. It's been more of a slower, let me get the belt grip and then I'll throw you out or force you out after we kind of figure out where we are on the dohyo. But I feel like he can't buy himself the time that he needs for that right now.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. That kind of feels right. And it's interesting that Onosato doesn't do that style because he just has the body type, but he definitely is proactive with his matches, which is one thing I like most about his sumo.
And I would certainly pick that every time. If I would say I would rather pick if I had to pick who I could wrestle like or who I would want to see, like what type of style I would want to see. I don't like seeing that reactive sumo from very many people. Hakuho was one of the examples just because he's Hakuho again. Like the guy's been gone 4 years. We bring him up every 5 minutes still.
Mm-hmm.
But like he was so good at if he stalled out on his offense, he could just he could just patiently wait there and just outlast you. And then the second you try to move, all of a sudden he does one of those things where he like whoop, and you just flip over without him even moving. But that just doesn't work for people when you're not as much better than your competition as Hakuho was. So yeah, Kotozakura, I have a handful of times in my notes where he just kind of got blasted out. Day 15 against Daisho. You know what Daisho is going to do, and he just lets him do it and gets blasted right back out. Like that's
To his defense, Daisho does that to a lot of people.
Yeah,
true.
He has like one of the better Tachiais, I think.
But if you know he's going to do it, what's
Go ahead,
that?
Jake.
I was saying Kotozakura is the Ozeki. He's ranked higher than Daisho. Like, it's gonna happen. Like, Daisho's going to get the better of some people eventually, every once in a while. But Daisho also lost to Onosato and Hoshoryu and has been consistently for a while. They've shown they know what to do with Daisho. Kotozakura should do the same.
Yeah. I guess I'm just saying, like, that's not the guy to play reactive sumo with. And just looking at their record, they're fairly even. Kotozakura's got the edge by a little bit, but they're consistently giving matches back and forth to each other. But yeah, I don't know. I like Kotozakura. I like I've compared him many, many times to Kisano Sato, who is another one of those guys that would be very poised and reactive and just smarter than you while also being stronger than you. And it just doesn't seem to be a game that's working for Kotozakura in his current physical condition.
That being said, Kotozakura will remain Ozeki. He did get a winning record this Basho, and he's going to be our sole Ozeki on the banzuke as Onosato gets promoted up to Yokozuna. So let's talk our next Ozeki, who's going to help us fill up the Ozeki rank some more. We've got a couple of good candidates that are putting together some good Bashos. I don't know that nobody's definitively one tournament away, but we've got a few guys that are put down a pretty good first Basho if they don't like go nuts and go 13-2 or 14-1 in the next tournament. So we've got Daisho. He's fallen just a little bit shy of getting Ozeki over the past 3 Basho. He's got 30 wins over the last 3 tournaments. So he's just a few wins away, honestly, from having gotten Ozeki this past Basho. We also have Kirishima. He has 30 wins over the last 3 tournaments, but he has higher highs and lower lows than Daisho. He's gotten 11 plus wins in 3 of the last 5 Basho, but then the other 2 were 6 wins and 8 wins. And now we've also got Wakataka Kage right back to where he was when he tore his ACL 2 years ago. He currently has 21 wins over the last 2 Basho, but the first one was a 9-6 for Maegashira 1. May not be counted towards an Ozeki run for Wakataka Kage. But we have these 3 guys. All of them are going to be ranked Sekiwake next Basho. Wakataka Kage with a 12-3 record. That's going to be enough for him to open up a 3rd Sekiwake rank on the next banzuke. So, Jake, will any of these 3 make Ozeki this year, or which one do you think does it fastest?
I was just going to point out real quick the magic number for these guys to hit 33 wins in Nagoya. For Daisho and Kirishima, it's 14.
Yeah.
Like, that's not happening. That's not happening right away. Wakataka Kage, magic number's 12, but like Ryan said, the slight stain on there is that he started with a 9-6 from Maegashira 1. Yeah. So he's probably...
Not a deal breaker, but typically when you see an Ozeki run start at Maegashira ranks, that first Maegashira Basho is pretty spectacular.
Yeah. So I think they'll probably make him earn it. I guess if any of these guys get fewer than 13 wins, we're not seeing any new Ozeki right away in Nagoya. I think that's kind of where I'm at. If any of the 3 of them get 13, we're at least having a meeting about it. You know, they're at least going to discuss that. But if any of these guys get like 12 or fewer, I think that I don't think it's happening. So, but as far as making Ozeki this year, I have the most hope for Wakataka Kage, not just because he got the 12 wins this time around, but because he is, to me, he feels like he's still on the way up. Daisho, Kirishima, we know who they are. Unless they're going to have like a 1 year better than the rest of their entire career, like Shodai did a while back, like they are who they are, and they're going to continue to be about where they're at. What's up, Flair?
Kirishima, or if they're gonna have like a year better than their entire career, Kirishima was Ozeki.
Yes.
He won 2 Yusho in a year.
In that 1 year where he was better than the rest of his career.
Yeah. But like he can do that again and do it. Like it's not like he's gonna have.
I don't know, man.
He has to have a year like he had in the past.
He's just got to look back to 2023.
Yeah, put some respect on his name. What the heck?
Fine. He's got to have a year that ties the other year that he was better than he was the rest of his career. Whatever.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I appreciate that was respectful enough. But just to finish that thought, though, like Wakataka Kage was continuing to get better when he had that big knee injury. And to me, it feels like he is still reestablishing himself in the top division. I have the most faith in him, and I probably have the least faith in Daisho just because Daisho is who Daisho is. I guess that's where I'd rank them. Wakataka Kage, I would take the bet to say that yes, he will be Ozeki this year, but not by much. The other two, I don't think I would take the bet.
I want Daisho to get Ozeki so much. So much.
Yeah.
I agree with you. He is not the most likely one to get it.
I would honestly be fine with all three of these guys making Ozeki. Daisho's the lowest on the list, but at this point, he's just been around for so long. Like, I just think he deserves a year or two at Ozeki to end his career just because he's been so consistently good over these past few years.
Yeah.
And especially, I mean, he's getting better. Like, he hasn't been this consistently good at Sekiwake, putting up multiple double-digit tournaments within like a 3 tournament span like he has recently. So I feel like Daisho's still just getting incrementally better and better and better as he's going. And that's just kind of been how Daisho's been throughout his entire career. Kirishima, like, needed to be better than he has been at any point in his career besides 2023. Like, even in 2024, when he dropped from Ozeki, when he's on. Like, he got 12 wins in 2024. He got 11 wins in January. He just needs to get that consistency again. So hopefully this time he doesn't have that little drop in between his 11 plus win tournaments, and he can get 3 11s in a row and make it back to Ozeki. I say, since Kirishima's done it once before, and we've seen him get the marks that he needs for Ozeki so much over the past few Bashos while in the Sanyaku ranks, I think I have the most confidence in him in doing it again. And then I'd say Wakataka Kage, then Daisho, but I'd be happy with all 3 of these guys, honestly.
Yeah. Emotionally, I'd be fine with any of them, I guess, just to put my 2 cents on that side of things as well. I think emotionally, I'd be most interested in Kirishima, just because I think that his sumo is the most fun to watch when he's on his game. But yeah, Daisho being the most simple pusher thruster of these 3, Kirishima being like we've compared him to Harumafuji with his, crazy mobility and trips and such.
Him and Wakataka Kage.
And Wakataka Kage is in a very, very similar category in my mind. But it's Wakataka Kage is the most fun. He's got the storyline of coming back from injury that always makes me root for a guy a little bit extra. Yeah. But yeah, I think that I don't think that Nagoya is going to be. I think all 3 of these guys will likely be out of the hunt pretty quick in that Basho. They'll lose maybe 2-3 matches in the first week or something, and it's like, all right, it's not happening this time. But if any of them can scrape by at least like 10 wins or so, then we'll be going into September with some pretty hot storylines for them.
Yeah, it's a little early for us to get too excited for any of these guys. We really do need one more Basho from these 3, and then we can really see if any of them get double digits next Basho. Then we can really see, okay, this is what they need to hit in September to make that Ozeki rank.
It just sucks that all 3 of them did poorly in March. Or at least poorly, Ozeki run poorly because
not double digits. Yeah.
Right. So for all 3 of them, it's like, oh, what a great Basho. Let's look at the last crud in March. They were not great. So
yeah. All right. I did want to point out Tamawashi and just kind of his trek for history. He not the greatest Basho for Tamawashi here. Maegashira 3. So you already know he was in Maegashira 1 through 5. He didn't have a winning record. 6-9 for Tamawashi this time. But he did creep up the list of his kind of longevity records. So he passed Teirao he is now in the top 10 for all-time wins in sumo history with 861. He's still 300 plus wins away from first place, which is Hakuho. So Tamawashi's never going to be on top of that list, but he will pass Taiho for 9th place with 12 more wins. So Tamawashi is he's up there in the upper echelons of sumo history and the number of wins that he has racked up in his long career. He's passed Onosato to be the 6th all-time in most career bouts with 1,703. He is 189 bouts away from Oshio for the most career matches ever. So he
Wow.
will need to fight to day 9 of Nagoya 2027 to pass that record. That might be tough for him. He'd be 42 at the time. Would love to see it, but that's 2 more years of fighting to get the most matches ever.
42, then straight to the home after that.
Yeah, exactly. And this Basho, he passed Teirao and Aonishiki to take 4th place for most career Makuuchi bouts with 1,407. He's only 63 matches away from Kyoku Tenho for the most career top division matches. So he just needs to fight to day 4 of Haru of 2026 to take that record. So, and he's already got the record for the most consecutive matches in sumo history. So Tamawashi just continuing to rise up the ranks in sumo history with just the incredible longevity of his career.
Yeah, very impressive. I can definitely see the Haru day 4 of 2026
getting the most.
Yeah, but he just has to stay in Makuuchi. But so far, so good.
I don't know. Anybody want to take bets on if he can get 300 plus more wins to pass Hakuho for most wins all time?
Well, you get 90 matches a year. So
that's already putting it.
Let's say he gets half of them. So he gets 45 a year. So that's still like 7 years, something like that. That's buddy.
Like,
that's a lot.
Like 330 away divided by 45.
Yeah.
So that'd be 7 years and 2 more Basho. So yeah, he just needs to keep fighting until 47. There's a couple of guys that just retired at the age of 48 in the lower divisions. He can do it. He can do it. All he's got to do is 8-7 and 7-8 the way for 7 more years.
For 7 more years. Jeez.
All right. A couple of
imagine doing like just competing in sumo that long, even for the guys that are in like the lower divisions and stuff, like doing that to your body until you're almost 50. Like, I feel, man, those guys, their mobility's got to be just shot by the time they get any older than that. That sucks.
Yeah. All right. A couple other Riksha you want to briefly mention. Hakuho, he started out on fire this Basho. Started off 8-1, and then they really started feeding him to the Sanyaku ranks, and he lost his final 6 matches in a row. As the days went on in the Basho, he got more and more tape on his, I believe it was his right arm.
Right arm, yeah.
Yeah, so I think especially on day 15, his match against Toki Hayate, it looked like he had nothing to offer Toki Hayate in that match. That's a little concerning with Hakuho's injury past, but I am a little bit miffed with the scheduling committee because like he fought Daisho and then Hoshoryu, and by that point he had 3 losses on day 11. Onosato was 11-0. He's out of the Yusha race. He's a Maegashira out of the Yusha race. Why are we matching him up against Onosato?
We don't have to kill
12?
the guy. Yeah.
And why are we matching him up against Kirishima as a Sekiwake on day 14? Like, he's lost 4 in a row at this point. He's outside of the Yusho race. There's other people with more wins that could be brought up to fight the Sanyaku Rikishi. Like, he's dead. Just let him be. Give my boy some peace.
So I have an idea about that because all those people are in the Yusho race he faced. So if one person kind of gets that Maegashira kind of match to get knocked down, it's maybe a little bit unfair for strength of schedule. So maybe you have to put all the people up top who are in the Yusho race, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but like they didn't do the same to Aonishiki. They gave him a couple easy days at the end. They didn't have him go up against the. Yeah, Aonishiki was he and Hakuho were at the same point.
We keep saying Yusho race for this Basho. I don't. There was no race.
2 wins. You never know.
He was within one. Both these guys were within 1 loss of Onosato until like day 9. Then they beat the crap out. The Torikumi people beat the crap out of him for like 3 days, and then they were like, "Okay, Aonishiki, you're good." But then Hakuho, they just like kept him up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't.
I think the people Aonishiki went against Wakataka Kage. I think they were 8-2 at the time when they did that one. So he wasn't. I guess maybe in the Yusho race. But then the Kotozakura and Daisho. So they kind of weren't. So the people he got up there weren't as, I guess, high profile, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
But I agree this is kind of a little bit weird. But that's in my head canon. I'm kind of explaining it away.
That's fair. I think to me, like, if I was doing it, I'd be like, all right, let's bring him up. give you 2 shots, and then if you lose them both, fine. You're good. Just go on. Maybe they're trying to stop them from getting Junyu shows as well. I don't know.
The thing that really annoyed me about it was because Onosato fought Hakuho on day 12. Onosato still had Hoshoryu, Kotozakura, and the 2 Sekiwake to fight.
Right.
But he was fighting Hakuho on day 12. So that meant he's not getting one of those Sekiwake to fight. And both of the Sekiwake had the same or a better record than Hakuho at that time. So it's just really frustrating. So Onosato didn't fight Kirishima this Basho, despite Kirishima being a Sekiwake and getting 11 wins. And that just really frustrated me. I really would have liked to have seen Onosato face the entire Sanyaku. There was no Basho reason to bring up Hakuho at that point. He was already 3 wins behind Onosato, well outside of any realistic chance of winning a Yusho. So that's the main thing that frustrated me. Is just why are we skipping over a Sekiwake with the same or better record than this random Maegashira 7? But I don't know. It's what happened. And honestly, it's better for Kirishima. Probably gave him one more win this Basho than if he had fought Onosato.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Keeps his Ozeki run going a little bit better. Would have been nice if he beat Takayasu on day 15 for Kirishima. I was really expecting 12 wins when they're matching him up against Takayasu, but Kirishima couldn't pull that one off. But still, 11 wins. We're not going to be too upset about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about Aonishiki, the guy that's just won't stop winning. He just keeps winning. He started off his career with 2 7-0 Yushos in the lower divisions. Then he got 4 straight 6-1s through Sandanme and Makushita. Then he got to Juryo, 10-5, 12-3. Now he's gotten to Makuuchi, 11-4, 11-4. Like I said before, there's a incredibly real chance Aonishiki is Komosubi next Basho. Because of how decimated Maegashira 1 through Maegashira 5 is, we are likely looking at Komosubi, Oshoma, and Aonishiki next Basho.
Nonsense. These guys from like 6, Maegashira 6 and Maegashira 9, and they may be Komosubis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I will say, looking at the matches he had against Upper Joy, like, I think he deserves to be there. He lost all the matches, but they were competitive. I thought they looked pretty good.
That's the thing, because like days 10 through 12, when they were really bringing up Aonishiki and Hakuho to fight the Sanyaku, Hakuho was getting blown out of the water a lot more. Aonishiki, especially his match against Kotozakura, I remember, was incredibly competitive and looked like Aonishiki could have pulled that one off. But Kotozakura used his veteran wiles to be able to beat Aonishiki. I'm really excited to see what Aonishiki can do at Komosubi. Not saying that he's going to keep 11-4ing his way all the way up to Ozeki at this point, but I think there's a very real chance that the level that he is currently at, he could go 8-7, 9-6 in his Sanyaku debut at having just turned 21 years old in his 3rd Basho in the top division.
So young.
He is. I'm incredibly excited to see what Aonishiki keeps doing moving forward. I remember our conversation on the Midway Basho. We were talking about like who's more ready for the upper bouts, and we were saying like, oh well, Hakuho, it's like he just gets in on the belt, drives the people out. Aonishiki is a lot more chaos.
Yep.
We were proven wrong like 3 days later, as Aonishiki's hanging with these guys a hell of a lot better than Aonishiki did, or than Hakuho did. And I feel like Aonishiki's skill level increased as the Basho went on. I felt like his wins got like a little bit more definitive and impressive as the Basho went on.
Yeah. One thing that might just not gonna slam the brakes, but just gonna tap them real quick is Aonishiki being a little bit more of a chaotic wrestler. We have seen that in unique wrestlers making their top division debut. When you're going against guys that you haven't faced before, they might be a little unfamiliar with the particular brand of chaos that you bring. Mm-hmm. So that may have, if Aonishiki gets bumped way up to the top of the banzuke and just gets completely rolled over next Basho, then I will pretend that I was definitive about this and that I made a prediction. But like the first time you face a weird guy, you know, maybe it looks more competitive than it would really be if you were familiar with the guy, you know? So Aonishiki almost took down Kotozakura, but like maybe next time Kotozakura's like, all right, I know what kind of BS this guy's gonna bring. Maybe and maybe he gets him again next time real easy. So I don't know. We'll see. I certainly am optimistic about Aonishiki, but like being the guy that bets against the 21-year-old being the next top guy, like that's the safe bet every time. Even if it doesn't work out, it's still the safe bet, right? So I'm just saying, like, we'll see. But I obviously I'm pleased. I hope that he does well because he's super fun to watch.
Yeah. I definitely agree, like definitely the chaos thing. I feel like there's like less he needs some more experience. I think that's why he relies on chaos.
Sure.
And so the fact that he's young, I'm hopeful that he's going to get that experience. He's going to learn that technique and be able to improve from there. We also have seen that's not a guarantee for some wrestlers. I'm trying to think of that guy who was the Hakuho guy who always stood up like a bunch.
Oh,
Like,
Hokuseiho.
Hokuseiho.
Hokuseiho, yeah, who got kicked out because he's a jerk. But yeah, he was the person who was like, oh yeah, he has the body, like he can do really really well, but he never seemed to learn technique. He never seemed to
Yeah.
actually learn
Know what he was
how
doing.
to do stuff.
I'm not worried about Aonishiki not knowing technique. Like I think he's showing some, like the beginning of the matches is a little bit more chaos because I feel like he's just trying to keep his belt so far away and he's doing the hand fighting. But I think like once he gets the belt grip or he finds that opening, I think he's very technically skilled to find the victory that he needs or find the leverage for the throw. Like his match against Sada Naomi, where he got Shitate Nage victory, like he looked like the veteran in that match. Like he just got the belt grip and just like, all right, I know exactly what to do with this, and threw Sada Naomi down.
Absolutely hucked him. Yeah.
I think I agree with you. I'm not too worried about it from what I've seen from him. I'm just saying,
But the potential's there.
Yeah, there's not a guarantee that the wrestlers pick up that, even though they're so young. But I am hopeful, and what I'm seeing is like I agree with you, Jake. I think it's gonna work out pretty well.
Yeah, we have two cases that we can look out for, like people rising up the banzuke quickly with extreme levels of hype, and he can go one path or the other. He can go the Onosato path and just never stop. He's just the best.
Yeah.
Maybe that's Aonishiki. Maybe Aonishiki's also just the best, or more likely Takerufuji, this Basho who ran into an absolute wall in the Sanyaku,
Right.
and finished 6-9. I'm not sure he picked up any wins against the Sanyaku except for possibly Takayasu. No, he lost to Takayasu. He lost to every single Rikishi in the Sanyaku ranks, and then picked up another loss against Oho and Abi for a nice set of 9 losses there. So Takerufuji definitely walled very hard by the Sanyaku ranks. It's very well within the realm of possibility Aonishiki does the same thing, as we saw this Basho when he fought the Sanyaku. He lost to them every time in all 3 of those matches.
With Takerufuji, he just kept on getting pulled into belt battles, I felt like, which is...
Oh, that's what he wanted. He wanted to get the belt. He wanted to push you out, but his opponents knew that too. And Takerufuji apparently only knows how to go straight forward and doesn't know that your opponent might try to twist to the side, and you kind of got to adjust with them instead of just keep going forward and getting pulled down and thrown down.
It's tough.
That's exactly what that's the example I should have brought up when I was talking about how people might get used to your brand of chaos, even if it worked the first time. Like my probably, we talked about it on the midway, but like even after the second week, one of my favorite moments of the whole thing was when Takerufuji just hit Onosato and like bounced off of him, and like I wish that we had a reverse angle where we could like see his face, like in that split second, like one just absolute freight train, bam, and then I did nothing. Oh no, oh no, or
big
like
boys
you said,
up in the joy.
Yeah, or like you said, when people can time that sidestep at the edge perfectly, he just flat down. I don't know. He's still on a very hot prospect path, but is he on the path of like Atami Fuji, who looked real good for like half a year and is now just like clearly a mid Maegashira guy? Or is or is this just one stumbling block on his ascension to be in that discussion with the other top guys?
Yeah, I mean, he could very well end up being somebody like Kirishima, who first time he got up in like Maegashira 3-4, he didn't have the greatest time either, but we still got to give him lots of time. He's got plenty of, I mean, he's 26 though, but he still has time to adjust
He's
to the
washed.
upper ranks.
He's washed.
done.
Yeah, he's older than the two Yokozuna. Like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah. Somebody who seems like they're going to be sticking around for at least one more Basho, Kaio, who's one of them. I don't know. He grew on me as the Basho went on. He really did. Like he's never going to be anything more than like Maegashira 8 in his career. That's like, I think that's where he tops out in his career.
He'll get 9 wins and a lucky banzuke, end up in the single digit Maegashira one time ever. Yeah, that sounds about right to me.
But god damn it, the shortest guy in the top division with also the widest belly and like his fighting style, he makes me laugh.
dirty.
And I enjoy Kaio. We were talking about nicknames for him on the Midway episode. We got a couple of suggestions. I believe Chewy Ken in our Discord channel mentioned Beach Ball would be a good one for Kaio. Very fitting for him. But also I think the winner, especially with his Mawashi color, that bright yellow, Sumo Kaboom had dubbed him Butterball. And I think
that's a runaway winner.
That's perfect for Kaio.
Butterball turkey. Yeah.
Just the big old butterball. And I was trying to think of a pun with something yellow, but also the fact that he's always moving backwards. I don't know. But butterball's just too simple. It's right there. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kaio is precious. I love him. We must protect him. He's the greatest. What I love most, I think it was his match against Meisei, where it's like it was the match for him to Kachikoshi, and he was just like, I'm going to Henka. I don't care. I need to get this Kachikoshi. So he just kind of like really went for it. Yeah. It was great.
All right. Anybody else that you guys want to talk about here?
I got my list of comedy moments. It grew in week 2.
Before you do that, let me just
go ahead.
Say just a quick serious one for Asakoryu. He did fantastically this boss show. And the other thing I liked is he actually got pulled up to do a match against the Top Joy against Wakataka Kage. He got absolutely blown out of the water, but you know what? He earned himself to get that match. It's like really cool to see, especially for this guy where I really just kind of like his style of sumo. He's a little bit on the smaller side still, but he has like the technique to make it interesting to watch. Yeah.
He's like he's on the cusp of little guy versus normal guy size wise. So like he can compete with his strength a lot better than somebody like Midori Fuji can, but he still has a lot of that little guy weirdness that can be pretty fun.
Yeah, it's just a joy to see.
Speaking of Midori Fuji, I don't think I've ever been as impressed with a 6 and 9. Because they were his last 6 that he won. He went literally 0 and 9 and then 6 and 0. Nonsense. It's just so stupid. I've never seen somebody get a kachi or a makekoshi on day 8 and then somehow end the tournament impressing me.
Yeah. He just waited for our midway podcast and he was like, oh,
we reverse cursed him. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did a little bit of the reverse Nishikigi this Basho, because Nishikigi started off 5-0 and then finished his last 10 matches 1-9. So not quite the exact mirror, but very different paths to getting to the same 6-9 record for those two.
Absolutely. All right, so I mentioned on the midway that I had a good list of really funny moments, just because this Basho seemed to be pretty comedy dense. Second week cooled off a little bit, but I still had a handful more. Like on day 10, where Chiyoshima tastes his own Henka medicine against Midori Fuji. That was pretty funny. On day 11, Ryuden stepped out when he was still working on a push, and the camera showed his... Oh, no, this one, it didn't show his face, but his body language was excellent. He stepped out, his opponent stopped wrestling because the match is over, and Ryuden's just like... just deflates, visibly deflates. Day 12, Ura flipped again, but with like a running start to it. Yeah. And then on day 13, he decided not to flip. So instead, he just has a cataclysmic belly flop straight onto his face. Like he jumped into it and his feet were still in the air. It didn't make any sense how that belly flop happened.
Speaking of face plants. Kirishima took a nasty one in his match against Takerufuji that he barely pulled out a win in. He had that bandage on the side of his face. I don't remember if it was there for the rest of the Basho, but definitely for a few days. But definitely a rough landing for the face of Kirishima there.
Yeah.
But didn't deter him. A few days later, he beat Hoshoryu. Like, Hoshoryu dropped those 2 early matches to Abi Oho. Kind of seemed like he got over his nerves, and then just Kirishima beat him on the belt straight up on day 12 or 13. So that was a good moment for Kirishima there. But yeah, that faceplant reminded me of how bad Kirishima ate it in that match.
Aonishiki took a pretty bad faceplant too in the match we talked about earlier with Kotozakura. They were in that classic, both guys are attempting a throw position, and Aonishiki's like, I ain't touching down. My hand's not touching down. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Ouch. And yeah, just brutal. But yeah, that's all I got. That was there was some. This was a comedy dense as far as Bashos go for me.
All right, banzuke wizard Ryan, I do have a banzuke question for you.
I hope we have a banzuke answer.
Did Oshoma do the entire Joy a solid by beating him on day 15 and giving him Abi a losing record? So maybe he drops out of the Joy? Question mark.
Abi's barely. He's going to drop like a half a rank, maybe.
Okay,
is my guess. I haven't put together the banzuke yet, but just with how few, like with how many losing records there are, Abi had a 7-8 record, so like he's only going to drop down to Maegashira 3 at worst, and there's not going to be a whole lot of people with records worthy enough of pushing him down even further. So I haven't looked at it, but my guess is Maegashira 3 East is the floor for Abi, and he might keep his same rank, but I haven't looked at it. My guess is probably like a half rank demotion or something like that.
Ah, dang. I have a feeling that Sanyaku just really, really just hate Abi because he can just always pull something out. So I bet they were cheering like,
Hoshoryu definitely at the top of that list.
Yeah, he's out of the Joy. This is the best. But no, apparently
not yet,
he's gonna
unfortunately.
stick around still. Yeah, very sad.
I do appreciate. I don't like either of these guys, Oshoma or Abi. Both of them have some baggage, but I did appreciate Oshoma handing Abi the 8th loss on day 15 in a great match. Like that was a match going into it. You knew whoever won that match was getting Komusubi based on how the rest of the banzuke had played out. And so that was a very intense match between those two, a great match. And Oshoma got the win over Abi there. So I appreciated that.
Yeah. As we mentioned at the top, this is like a historically terrible Basho for the guys in the top Maegashira ranks. But it's not uncommon for the Joy, that group, to have a bad time. When this happens, what that will generally mean is the people with losing records in that area will drop less. They will have less of a drop than you might otherwise expect. And the few people that do have winning records, guys like Oshoma or Onokatsu, Hakuho, just outside that range, are going to get promoted further than you would expect because there's a lot of gaps that they have to fill with the very few guys that have winning records.
The big winners here are Oshoma, Hakuho, Onokatsu, Kinbozan, and Aonishiki.
Yeah, the guys in like the 6 to 9 Maegashira range that had winning records, they're going up because of the performance of the Maegashira 1 through 5. Those guys are going to go up higher than they otherwise might have.
All 5 of those guys are going to be making either the Sanyaku or Joy debut next Basho. I'm looking for another very strong showing from the Sanyaku because there's a lot of fresh, untested blood in the Joy next Basho. You're going to have your sprinkling like Wakamoto Haru, Oho, Abi. They're still going to be there. But you're looking at Onokatsu, Hakuho, Oshoma, Aonishiki, Kinbozan, guys that have not been up in that area before. So I'm expecting another very good Sanyaku Basho.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff up there.
Mm-hmm. Any other Rikishi in the top division we want to mention before we go over real quick the list of lower division Yusho winners? All right. Let's talk about Juryo Yusho for the second consecutive Basho. It is Kusano, 23 years old. Same guy that won it last time when we went over all of this. But he is the first Rikishi to win 2 consecutive Juryo Yusho since Shima no Umi in 2019. And this is also the first time that the Makuuchi Yusho and Juryo Yusho were won by the same Rikishi in consecutive Bashos since Hakuho and Tochinoshin did it in 2014.
Oh, I'm sorry. You mean that it was Onosato and Kusano, next Basho, Onosato and Kusano again.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. I thought you meant like the Juryo Yusho was won by a guy and then he also won it in Makuuchi the next time.
No, that was Takerufuji last year in Haro.
Right. Either way, that's a very silly stat.
Yeah.
How did you find that? Did you just...
Other people on the internet said it and I found it.
There you go. Okay.
Yep.
You confirmed it once somebody told you where... Yeah, okay. That helps a lot.
Down in Makushita, our Yusho winner there is Otsuji. This is his first career Makushita Yusho and his first career lower division Yusho. He's 21 years old. He had made his Juryo debut last Basho, but dropped out after a 5-10 record. So he's going to be giving Juryo another go in the next Basho as he was Makushita 3 this tournament. In Sandanme, the Yusho goes to Hataoka. This is his second career Sandanme Yusho and his fourth lower division Yusho. He's 31 years old, but he's been hampered by injuries throughout his entire career. He's got multiple streaks of like 3 or more Bashos where he sat out all 3 of them. So he's been bouncing between Jonidan and Makushita for many years at this point. And I believe this is his first Basho back after another long absence. In Jonidan, Mineyaba, his first career Jonidan Yusho, his first career Yusho overall. He's 26 years old. He also just returned after missing 3 consecutive Bashos. He's been a Makushita mainstay until that injury that kept him out of those recent Bashos. Excuse me. He won a playoff, our only lower division playoff this Basho against Tenrose, Asa Shoryu's other nephew.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of the Jonidan division down there, our American Hikaru Musashi, he picked up a 4-3 record. I don't know if that's automatic promotion to Sandanme, just any sort of winning record in Jonidan, or if he's just going to move up higher in Jonidan. I think probably just higher in Jonidan. I'm not sure.
We got to work on your lower division banzuke prediction.
I know Jonokuchi, like, if you get a winning record anywhere in Jonokuchi, you're up in Jonidan next time.
Sure.
I don't think it works the same way in Jonidan. But speaking of Jonokuchi, Kazuma is our Yusho winner down there. This is his first career Jonokuchi Yusho. He's 23 years old. He was a Makushita Tsukedashi in July of last year, but he got injured and pulled out of his first career Basho and then missed the entirety of the next 4. So this was his first completed Basho in Sumo and his first one after dropping all the way down to the bottom division after being a Makushita Tsukedashi. So bad luck for Kazuma here.
Should we talk about our yellow belt before we take our break?
Let's do it.
All right. So, as I mentioned before, we are going through our yellow belt vocabulary, stuff that is worth knowing whether or not you care about amateur sumo. This will still help you understand some of the stuff that they're doing in the pros. So, because we have gone over all of these before, I'm going to just describe something and call on one of you guys to tell me what the vocab word is. And then actually, let's start off with counting to 10. Ryan, can you count to 10 in Japanese?
Ich, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, kyu, ju.
All right, easy enough. When we do sumo practice, we always do our shiko in sets of 10. Flaric, what's a shiko? Don't demo it. Just give me a description.
Yeah, that's where you balance on one leg and then you kind of lift the other leg and try to get as straight as possible and then do a very manly stomp to the ground.
There you go.
Oh, that was a lot.
So yeah, counting to 10 is generally, well, one, it helps you get to know the language more, but also we generally do 10 shiko at a time and then another set of 10 or another set of 10, depending on how long we do it. But we're always just count 1 to 10. There you go. Drill those numbers in so you can count better in Japanese. After we do Shiko in training, one of the things that we do most commonly is we just squat all the way down and just squat as far down as you can go to open your hips up. Ryan, what is that stretch called?
That is Koshiwari.
Koshiwari. You go as low as you can with your knees far apart, stretches out your hips, stretches out your lower back and your upper legs and everything. After we do our Koshiwari stretch, one of the next stretches that we do is where we keep one foot planted on the ground, stick the other leg out, and bend over that straight leg, stretch out our hamstring while our opposite foot is planted. Fleric, what's that one called?
That is Shinkyaku.
Bingo, Shinkyaku. That's our other stretch there.
I
Last
remember that
lower.
because it has shin in it, which is like leg thing.
There you go. That's a good way to remember it.
Yeah.
The other stretch we do before we start doing more sumo movement is the one where we sit down with our legs as far apart as possible. We reach over one side, reach over the other, and then try to do the pancake all the way forward. Ryan, what's that one called?
That would be Matawari.
Bingo, Matawari. All right, so then after that, in our sumo practice, we'll stand up, we'll get loose. We want to practice our sumo movement. Fleric, what is the position called? Not the movement, not the drill or anything, but the position that you prefer to be in a sumo match.
Oh my goodness. Is it Chigoshi?
Yes, that is the hardest one, but that it's one that we don't use
Take
very
it.
often because it's not the name of the drill, it's just the position. So like feet wide apart, butt squatted down, got your arms in here defending your belt. It's just the ready position.
Yeah, it's like sumo athletic stance. Kind of
Yeah.
get down. Right.
We use that position and we shuffle across the ring as our next drill to like work on our muscle memory of what position we want to be while we are in a sumo match. Ryan, what's that called when we were doing that shuffling drill?
That would be Suriyashi.
Suriyashi, that's the one. After Suriyashi, we take it one step higher and we do that same drill, but with a partner providing resistance. Fleric, what's that called?
That's Butsukari.
Butsukari, the most exhausting drill in all of sumo, other than I guess just doing sumo matches. But yeah, that's where you got a partner in front of you. It's half workout and half drill, because yes, it will push you very hard. That is Butsukari. Now, the other two things that we got to know before we do a match, the ring entrance ceremony. In amateur sumo, we do it exactly the same every time. In professional sumo, it's a little bit different, but it generally consists of a lot of the same things. We clap to get the attention of the gods. We show we're unarmed. But this brief 30-second ritual before each match, Ryan, is called
Chirichozu.
Chirichozu. Excellent. And then the last thing that we do before we start a sumo match is we go to the middle. We squat down with our toes down, heels up, knees far apart in just this little resting squat as we stare down our opponent. Fleric, what's that called?
Sankyo.
Sunkyo. There you go. That is all the vocab for our yellow belt. So basically, we know the basic drills. We know the basic procedural terminology for what we do before sumo matches. And that's our yellow belt. We're going to add on a handful more for orange belt. And every now and then I'll spice in a couple vocab words from the lower belts. But yeah, that's just reviewing what we learned for our first one. Within a year or so, we'll be through all of the vocab through our black belts. So again, reach out if you are curious about how to earn those. Or I guess, as always, anything amateur sumo. I'm your guy. I'd love to talk about it. With that, though.
Well, hold on, Jake.
Oh, yeah, sorry. What do we got?
I need you to give me the definition.
Oh, God, that's right. You find something like way ridiculous hard just to get back at me. What do we got this time?
Kimon.
Oh, jeez, not a clue. Do you just like go to the Wikipedia glossary page and click something?
Scroll down
random?
until I find one.
Yeah, okay. All right, what is that? Kimon?
Yes.
What does that mean?
That is Demon's Gate. It is the term for the glass ceiling for wrestlers, synonymous with insurmountable difficulties.
Dang.
Named after the traditional geomancy beliefs that the northeast direction brings misfortune. In everyday language, it came to be used as a word referring to something that is likely to have an unpleasant result. That's not really super sumo related.
So I guess that would just kind of be like a colloquial term for like, where is this guy's ceiling that we don't expect him to break through or something?
Yeah. Here's one that you have a chance of getting.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Koreyori Sanyaku.
Koreyori Sanyaku. Is that the ceremony on the last day where the Sanyaku wrestlers come out for some extra Shiko?
Yes, it's the wrestlers competing in the final 3 bouts.
Oh,
It's these 3
okay.
bouts. So that's on the final day, you have them come out, do the extra Shiko exercise, and then
Sure.
the winners of those bouts get the arrows, the strings,
That's
and
right.
the bow.
Yep, gotcha.
That
And
is
that's only on the
Koreyori
last day.
Sanyaku.
I'm sorry, the term one more time?
Koreyori Sanyaku.
Gotcha. Cool. I appreciate that. I forgot you were doing that, but yeah, keep me honest.
Me too. Until 5 seconds before I did it.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with the GSB belt, our bold predictions, and I suppose we haven't really had to talk about it, but our Champ and Chump prediction series.
Mhm.
You're listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown, the world's #1 sumo podcast, according to 3 out of 4 hosts of Grand Sumo Breakdown. Keep an eye out for our preview, midway, and recap podcasts for every professional sumo tournament and a host of bonus episodes in between. Help support us by joining our Patreon and spreading the word about our show. Every penny we raise is reinvested in improving our podcast. We also help run amateur sumo events and produce the American Sumo newsletter, which you can find on our website, grandsumobreakdown.wordpress.com. Reach out to us on social media if there's anything you'd like to learn about sumo or if you'd like to try it yourself. Welcome back. We are going to take a look real quick at our GSB belt. We give a preview, or on our preview episodes, we talk about how this works, so we're not going to really go into it too much right now. But our winner's belt, the 3rd iteration of the GSB winner's belt, we mentioned on the midway, it was around Kusano's waist. Really wish it would have stayed there, and it was super close to doing so, but he dropped 1 match on day 11 to Tomokaze, who lost to Hidenoumi, who lost to the day 15 winner and holder of the GSB belt, Koto Eiho. So, Koto Eiho...
I need him to change his name. I know he won't, but...
I hear a-hole every time.
Every time.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
He's just that a-hole from the Koto...
Koto Shoho's little brother, the former Koto Tebakari. He became Koto Eiho once he made it up to Juryo, but yeah, he is Koto Shoho's little brother.
Let's hope he gets to Makuuchi and picks another name. Because if he does get to Makuuchi, we'll be saying his name a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's Juryo 7 West. He got 11 wins. And Ryan, what do you think his odds are of getting promoted all the way to the top division from there?
Fairly decent.
Okay.
Pretty decent. I think we're looking at 5 up, 5 down. And then the borderline case is going to be Koto Eiho. On if he is number 5 or if they stop it at 4. But by the math, he deserves to be ahead of the Makuuchi counterpart that would be dropping for him. So pretty decent, but he's also deep Juryo, so there might be some big anti-Juryo bias that could come into play to keep him out. So he's borderline.
Borderline. Yeah. Leonard from Tachiai, he mentioned he'd give it maybe 60-40. But yeah, it's between Nishikigi and Koto Eiho for like the very last spot in Makuuchi. Mm-hmm. So that being said, though, we could, but might not see the winner's belt make it all the way up. Would have been pretty dope if Hidenoumi didn't drop that match to Koto Eiho, because Hidenoumi was at Juryo 2 and definitely will be moving up.
No, we can't cheer for Hidenoumi. We don't need him at the top.
There's one reason, and it is the GSB belt.
Well, fair.
Our GSB losers belt, we almost had a match where both belts were in the same matchup, but it was just like one day off. It was pretty funny. But yeah, at the midway, it was on Hatsuyama, who lost a little bit more and then dropped it. Well, he won, so he gave up the belt. Whatever. The belt went to the loser Miyano Kaze on day 10, who lost as well on day 11 and day 12, and then he won on day 13, passing the belt to Makushita wrestler Kita no Waka. That's
and
right, the loser's
Kita no Waka
belt.
Finished 3 and 4, correct?
Bingo! Kita no Waka is going to carry that belt into the, Makushita maybe 10-ish, 10, 15, somewhere in there.
It might be 4 or 5. I'm not sure how far.
Oh, you think so?
3, 4 drops.
3 and 4 from the very top of Makushita. Yeah, he's going to... It's possible that belt doesn't... It's possible that it gets stalled out again. But this Basho was very good for us.
So he should be far enough down that if there's any exchange bouts in the first 2 or 3 days, that I don't think he would be involved in
Sure.
those. And so once it's in Makush, as long as he's not involved in any Jurio exchange bout, we should be pretty good to go.
Yeah.
Because the loser is going to face another loser, and so it's just going to keep dropping down on people with worse and worse records now that we're in the lower divisions. So there's a chance that it could end up on like a Makushita 3 or 4 on like day 7 or 8, and then there's like a Jurio exchange. There's a match with somebody in Jurio, they lose it there and put it back up into Jurio. But once we get past that first week and it starts getting down, we should be free and clear for this to free fall down all the way over the next couple Basho.
The one thing to be worried about though is the end of the Makushita schedule. It will probably, because Makushita generally is like a bracket system, it'll be, if you lose on your first day, you'll go up against somebody else who lost on their first day. On day 5, if you're 0-5, you'll face somebody else who's 0-5, generally. So what that could mean is you got 2 0-6 guys, and we have the belt all the way down at the bottom of Makushita, and the only other guy for that 0-6 guy to face is at the top of Makushita, and then that guy loses. So it's potentially possible.
Well, that's fair.
But no matter what, even if you're at the very top of Makushita, if you go 0-7, you're going a ways down.
Yeah.
So like the belt is certain to move down a little bit, but we'll see if it's quick or if it is slow.
Yeah. Looking like odds on, we're going to start somewhere like Makushita 4-5.
Yeah.
Just looking back at that history.
But either way, pretty cool that both belts were in Jurio, and there's a chance that both belts will be clear of Jurio by Nagoya 2 months from now.
All right, moving on to our Champ Chump prediction series. As Jake said, it's been a little quiet on that front because our current reigning champ, Mac, is, of course, on his mission to Mars. And so Fleric, our current reigning... What's that?
Mission to Mars, not great. Yeah. I think Red Planet was the better of the two. They came out at like the same time.
The Martian's my favorite, but...
That's always fun.
Yeah. So Fleric is our loser this time. So he will need to pay deference to Mac once he returns to our planet for the preview episode of the Nagoya Basho. And we'll have a surprise punishment for Mac or for Fleric at that time because we don't know what
it's not a surprise at that time.
Yeah.
Well, for the fans,
for the fans,
for us,
it will be.
I hope we know before then.
I hope we know long before then. Yeah,
it'll be a surprise. So we'll see what kind of punishment Fleric has going on for the Nagoya preview. But this was a very good Basho for all of us, and like it was in doubt all the way to day 15. Like Mac had it wrapped up when Onosato got the Yusho on day 13. That gave him enough points. He was out in the lead. He won it. But all of us had good champs for the most part. Fleric, the reason he fell behind, he had Kotozakura as his champ. Just couldn't quite keep up with Aonishiki, Hoshoryu, Onosato. But our chumps, we had Gonoyama, Tamashoho, Ichiyamamoto, Ryuden. 10 or 11 losses for all 4 of those guys. We were very even on the chump side of things. So it was a very good tournament for all of us. Fleric lost, Mac won. We will feel the ramifications of that on the Nagoya preview.
Yeah, I just to put that in perspective, my champ got 11 wins, my chump got 11 losses, and I came in 3rd.
Yeah.
Like we did. We crushed it.
Yeah. As always, we run a Champ Chump competition on our Discord, and our winner this time is Kaji Yanosho on our Discord. And he sent me a statement for his victory saying, "I am deeply honored to accept my first title." He's saying his first title, so he's confident there's going to be more. In just my second Basho of the Champ Chump series, the Osaka playoff heartbreak really motivated me to perform well this tournament. We were an inch away from seeing another man in Iowa saying, "They said this day would never come." Alas, I turned that sadness into determination and put all my faith in Onosato. I can only thank the new Yokozuna for the ride and Tochi Taikai for the magical 10-day losing streak. I hope it returns to the top division soon enough so I can try to thank both of them personally in London later this year.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, so he's out in London, and as we all know, Sumo is going to be heading out there. I think October was it, and they've got to be excited because they're going to have 2 Yokozuna out there for that. That's going to be great for them.
Splitting up all the bat mitzvah duties and stuff. That'll be great.
Yep. Did anybody get a statement from our loser? We probably should have talked about this off air, but
I hadn't seen anything, but I feel like they are worthy of mockery for a very specific decision that they made.
yeah, our loser on the patron side this time, Super Skunk, really wasn't feeling Onosato coming into this Basho to the point of selecting them as their chump.
Oops.
And when you pair that with an Oho champ pick, and Oho only managed to get 7 wins, and you get -5 for the Onosato Yusho, that's going to guarantee you last place.
Yep.
Oof.
Bold though.
Bold, very bold.
I appreciate taking big swings, but that was as far away from the ball as possible.
Yes. All right. Let's talk about our bold predictions for this Basho. We start, as always, with our not very good bold predictions. Hisui said that Hoshoryu will win the Yusho. Not terrible, but it's not what happened. Onosato 11-4 at best. Kaio to get a winning record, and Aqua to drop the bow during the Yumitori Shiki. None of those things came to pass.
Aqua? Gotta give props to Aqua for not doing Aqua things.
Yeah. He did a good job.
I feel like he got close with the Kaio being 7-8 instead of 8-7, but
it was very
saying
close.
he's gonna drop the bow. That's just disrespectful.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
It would have been pretty disrespectful if Aqua dropped the bow.
Podcast favorite, Eggman's asshole, predicted a Takanosho
on me.
Takanosho June Yusho and a Kaio special prize. You know what? I didn't say it on the podcast, but I did participate in some like online sumo games. I also had a Takanosho June Yusho predicted. I thought he was going to do a lot better down at Maegashira 12 than an 8-7.
I thought I heard Murray Johnson from the actual NHK broadcast pick Takanosho to win it all. So I guess what I'm saying is those of us who didn't pick Takanosho to win, we got a shot at that job someday, maybe.
Yeah. Zero Gravitas predicted a Nishikiki bounce back and to win a special prize. Was looking good through 5 days, but then the rest of the tournament happened. And also Douglas 8887 said that Kotozakura will be more impressive than Onosato. Kotozakura fell 6 matches short, or 6 wins short of Onosato. But on the other side of that coin, Douglas 8887 said Takayasu will finish Makekoshi. So that kicks off our good predictions.
No, come on.
Fine. Chewy Ken said that we would have an Onosato Yusho with a 13 or better record. Onosato and Hoshoryu fight on day 15, but Hoshoryu will be 2 wins behind and out of the Yusho race, and also a Wakataka Kage special prize.
That's crazy good.
So very good for Chewy Ken, but not quite as good as our t-shirt winner, Highest Marshall, who predicted an Onosato Yusho, Wakataka Kage, double digits, Kotozakura barely getting Kachikoshi, Abi 6-9, he got 7-8, close enough, and that Kaio and Tamashoho would head back down to Juryo. Tamashoho definitely, Kaio will be sticking around, but he still got a losing record, close enough.
I love how our bold prediction series tends to go towards like parlay style voting.
Yeah.
Or not voting, betting, where it's generally the people that made like moderately bold things, but 10 of them and they all happened.
Yes.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on to our GSB awards. We don't have an incredible amount of them this time, but there was one thing that struck me particularly funny this tournament that Jake hadn't mentioned before. I couldn't think of a funny award name, so I'm just LOL award. Keen Bozan needing just one shove to shut Tobizaru's Ashitori attempt down and just send him flying out of the dohyo. That really tickled me in a special way.
Mm.
And then our match of the Basho. Like I said, we didn't have a whole lot, just that one. Jake covered all the other moments when he was going over all of his funny stuff.
I don't know. The GSB awards thing doesn't necessarily have to be its own thing every time, especially if like Usually this is the spot where we talk about weird, funny stuff that happened that we didn't have another chance to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And I already was working on a book full of funny moments. So I don't know, whatever. It was still fun.
Match of the Basho. We've got 5 contenders here. Day 1, Kotozakura versus Oho. Also on day 1, Chura no Umi versus Ono Katsu. Day 11, Takayasu versus Ura. Ura just... The only way he knows how to beat Takayasu is in impressive fashion with the Tsutaizori, and this is the second time Ura beat Takayasu with the Tsutaizori. And it's not just that's getting it nominated for Match of the Basho. It was entertaining leading up to that moment as well.
Oh, yeah. Crazy good match.
Day 13, just a chaos battle between 2 agents of chaos in Chura no Umi and Shishi. Very entertaining. And on day 15, the aforementioned Komusubi battle between Oshoma and Abi. And the winner for Match of the Basho, unsurprisingly, Ura defeating Takayasu with the Tsutaizori.
Yeah. Go ahead, Flaric. You first.
All right. I think I did not know that Ura actually got Takayasu with this Kimarte before.
Mm-hmm.
But that adds so much kind of like deliciousness to this, because before it was happening, I think everyone knew what was going to happen, what he was going for. Because he got the position that Ura was in, he was like, oh my God, he's doing that. He's like getting ready to do it. And I bet Takayasu was feeling the exact same thing. Like, oh no, not again. Not again. Oh, it was good. I just love seeing weird Kimarte that Ura puts up, and it's just delicious. Give me more.
So Ura and Takayasu have fought 3 times this year. Ura is 2-3, and those 2 wins are both Tsutaizori.
Yeah, the Tsutaizori, by the way, I looked up Ura's match list. He uses that in 1% of his victories. The overall average is 1/100th of 1%, and I'm willing to bet that most of those are Ura's, because he's landed this 4 times in his career. Mm-hmm. All 4 times in like upper Maegashira.
I'm checking real quick to see if Ura is the Tsutaizori king in sumo history real quick. So give me how many
just search for that Kimarite and
Sue?
Group by wrestler or something.
Yes, exactly like that.
Exactly, almost specifically, like I knew exactly where to find that as well. Hold on. Yeah, it might be a situation like Tochi Notion, where it's like Tochi Notion does oh gosh, what's it called? Tsuridashi, where you just lift your opponent out. He like raised the average in all of sumo because he did that so much. So like he did that move like 20 times more than an average wrestler does. But that average wrestler number includes Tochi Notion in it, so it's already skewed because he does it so much. I would not be surprised if Tsutaizori is one like in a similar vein for Ura, because he's landed 4. He
is indeed the king. He is co-king with Asa Kiryu, is the other one who has landed 4 Tsutaizori in their career.
Nice.
Wait, Asa Kiryu is a currently active rikishi down in Sandanme.
Okay.
Hold on, let me look.
All
at
right,
this
well
guy.
now we're on
this is the right guy. Yeah, he's done. His overall usage rate of the Tsutaizori is 4.35%. So he's blowing Ura out of the water.
Wow. Landed 4 of them, but with a much smaller sample size. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although against much lower competition.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been doing it down in Sandanme. So the level of competition isn't quite up to doing it back-to-back times against a former Ozeki.
It is kind of funny, though. It's tied for his 6th most common move for Asakiryu. Oh, that's dumb. All right, well, we could end up doing this forever. Should we move on to our last question?
Last question, same as it is every single Basho. Jake, what was your favorite moment of this Basho?
I have a couple, but I'm going to take the one that I know Ryan won't. And I think for me, that is day 13 when Onosato clinched it. I think that in particular, that moment, knowing that it was coming because he had like 3 days to get 1 win. Like, of course it was gonna happen, but him getting it on his first chance to clinch, that did it for me. The rest of the Basho was a little bit of a coast for me because like that was the thing for me. Signaling the new era and whatever, having their match a couple days later with the Yokozuna, and the next Yokozuna was a big one for me, of course. But like, yeah, the clinching of it, seeing it, like I say it all the time, but I got to say it again. The Amazumo, the amateur sumo connections here adds a whole new layer to it. I am 1 degree of separation from this guy because I know like a dozen people who have met him in person. Like that's so cool to me.
What about you, Flarek?
All right. Runner up, I'm gonna just once again say when Kaio tried to Henka Meisei for his Kachikoshi. It was I just love it. He was just like, I just like it. He's willing to go get dirty
Gotta
to
do
get
it.
his wins.
We just need Kaio to hang around and cause chaos in the double-digit Maegashira ranks for a couple of years.
I miss Aqua. I hope that Kaio can be my guy for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, but the number one, Ryan definitely kind of said all of his thoughts about it and how much he loved it. But I definitely echoed it the exact same way when Hoshoryu versus Onosato, and that Hoshoryu actually came out on top of that matchup. It's just exactly how I want that to go. The exact place I want to be going into the next Basho. It was just so. It was a great way to end the Basho. Great feeling to be excited for the future. That moment was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that's my favorite moment of the Basho. I think just to add a little bit more to that, like so much on this podcast, I'm not so much of a fan of like I have my Rikishi that I hate, but I've never like really been like fully behind other Rikishi, just like cheering for them above all else. And like I'm usually like I want what's best for the sport of sumo and cheering for like the history and what's good for sumo. And so you'd think with that context that like, oh yeah, I'm wanting to see the Zensho out of Onosato here. And this Basho has helped me really find that Hoshoryu is my guy in a big way, because like I'm like I don't care about the Zen. I don't want the Zensho. I want Hoshoryu to take this man down. I want Hoshoryu to be my big guy that just Onosato can't get past. Show all the doubters that you are Yokozuna. You got that Junyusho. You got 12 wins. You are a Yokozuna. And so him taking down Onosato on day 15, just absolutely my favorite moment of the Basho.
I am looking forward to their rivalry for another dimension, and that's the fact that Hoshoryu is your guy. Onosato is like, he's got to be my guy now. Like Takayasu is like, he could be done at any time. He'll always be like my first crush, but like going forward,
he's your legacy favorite. Like
he's my legacy
was mine. Yeah.
Yeah. But Onosato, of course, now that he's Yokozuna, especially, it's like, that's got to be. Hiradomi is another guy that I kind of like toyed with having as my favorite, but like he's kind of leveled off and it hasn't been as fun to follow
that level
him.
Of like I feel like choosing a favorite as an adult, like I'm a fan of the Minnesota Vikings because as a kid I was a fan of the Minnesota Vikings, and like you just have such a connection and such like a higher level of love and devotion when it's like something that you were a fan, or like when you were a kid. And have the Vikings ever given me any reason to keep being a fan of theirs over the past 30 years? No. But because of that nostalgia and that love that I had for them as a kid, I keep going, and I would never cheer for any other team. But when you're coming into it as an adult, trying to find something to latch onto and cheer for, like it's hard to do that for somebody that's not rewarding you for that love and devotion. Like I said, like I don't know if I'm out of pocket here, but
no,
like,
absolutely not. It's different when you're
being honest.
adult.
Like I could choose like, oh yeah, like let's cheer for Hira Umi. He's really fun and cool. Like I love his style of wrestling, but like if he's not giving you those wins and he's not giving you the success, like it's just like, yeah, he's cool. Like he could be like in my second or third tier of favorite Rikishi, but he can't be my guy. And so that's kind of where I've been at with a lot of people. And I think, I mean, it might be shallow and petty. It's like, oh yeah, he's the Yokozuna, so he's my favorite now. But kind of, yeah,
a little bit, yeah, that's kind of it,
a little bit. And the reason, and like, I don't have a whole lot of feelings for Onosato. Negative or positive, like generally positive because I like cheering for greatness, but like
if I'm going to
Hoshoryu-
start cheering for him even harder, that's
If
going to make
there-
you hate him.
if
And I
there's
think that's what we
anything
need.
that can do, yeah, we were talking in the Discord on Saturday, I think it was, and I was talking in there, like somebody's like, "Oh, it would be really cool if Ryan started getting a real hate on Onosato." I'm like, I don't know if I can do that because like I do enjoy watching greatness, I do enjoy watching history, and Onosato seems like he's going to be bringing so much of that to us. But also, the only reason I hate Oho is because Jake took such exception to my Oho take that I had to just
You had to
dig my
double down.
heels into that and double down on it. So if there's anything that can drive me to hate Onosato, it's Jake getting fully behind him.
I will do my best. I'll give Brenda a call, see if she can get me some merch right away or something like that. We got connections here.
Yeah. But no, the reason for Hoshoryu for me is just I love his intensity. I love his style of sumo. I just love
You
his
don't have to
attitude
justify it. It's a perfectly good pick for your favorite.
We're at the end of the podcast. People stopped listening a while ago, so I just feel like
probably.
talking about sumo a little bit longer before we ends because, like, for a Basho that was wrapped up on day 13, I love this Basho so much.
Yeah. It's the earliest wrap up in 10 years, and it was still great down to the last match.
Yeah, exactly. And that's and I feel like that's what two Yokozuna can bring to us. Maybe when it's 3 years down the line and Onosato has it wrapped up on day 13 and it's not new and fun and exciting for us, maybe then it's not the same. But right now, it's all positivity about the future, baby. Like there's nothing to be upset about with this Basho.
Hell yeah. Nope, it was a good one. Until next time, throw your
It's like,
salt
not my
high
job anymore.
and keep moving forwards. We'll see you in a few weeks for our banzuke episodes, our news episode, and then see you in July for our Nagoya coverage. I already said the catchphrase thing, so I'm just gonna click stop. I think we're good.
There you go.